Hey team, Will Cobb here, and I am here with Film Friend Fridays, coming at you again with another one this Friday. Today on the show we have Nevin Johnson, or nevincolor on Instagram, and we're going to be talking about his incredible simplistic landscape photography that is just blowing my mind. He's one of my favorite film photographers out there right now. His incredible pastels, his incredible simplicity but beauty in his shots is just mind-blowing. We're gonna talk with him on the show today, and it's gonna be an incredible interview. I hope you enjoy this interview as much as I did. So here's my interview with Nevin Johnson. Yo, what's up? How's it going, Nev?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, man. Well, thanks for being with me today on Film Friend Fridays. And I'm so happy to have you on because you have been like one of my biggest inspirations right now. I don't know. Everything you post is like mind-blowingly good.
You're being way too kind, man. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. You've got some pretty rad stuff coming out yourself, man. I've been really nice to watch you grow as a photographer, especially in film as well.
Thanks, man. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and just like a little bit about like what you're doing on IG.
Sure. Well, my name is Nevin Johnson. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have a pretty normal office job. As you guys can see, this is actually my home office sitting here, but behind the camera here is my mega desk. I got 3 monitors and, hanging out on my lunch break. So contrary to what some people might believe, I'm not a Instagram photographer just traveling all the time. I only go on the weekends. So I got a pretty normal office job that allows me the freedom to really take advantage of my weekends. And, that's what I've been doing for the past 2.5 years. Past year and a half now, has been mainly focused on film. So, I actually started out, like many people around my age, started out with digital photography and then moved our way into film as opposed to, the OGs, starting off with film and moving into digital. So I feel like that's a big thing with people our age where it's like, they've moved backwards, they're rediscovering analog photography versus the new age digital and stuff like that. So, like I had mentioned before, I really try and take advantage of traveling as much as I can on the weekend. I live in Philadelphia, which isn't really known for, stunning landscapes. I'm not out in California like you or, any of the real fun spots. But, I try and do a big trip like that, about a year. Like, we were supposed to go to Wyoming here in a couple weeks, but that turned out because of everything going on right now. Kind of had to postpone that one, but we're looking at doing a week up in Maine. So it's one of my favorite places, regardless of geographic location. I really do love Maine. So that would be really fun.
Yeah. Where in Maine are you going?
Acadia. It's my favorite spot. Yeah. I've been there 2 or 3 times so far. And, some of my favorite photos I've ever taken were like the longest day of the year, sunrise. I think we got up at like 3:30 to get there, from our hotel. And it was just something, man, watching, I think, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. There's I think Bar Harbor, like Mount Desert Island, where Acadia is the the first spot the sunrise is on the East Coast, at least for the United States. So that's pretty cool for me to when I saw on the longest day of the year, the sunrise on the first spot in United States, that was pretty neat.
Dude, that's so cool. Well, I think that's one of the things that like blows me away about you is like, you've got your normal job, but you like, it's, in the business world, we would call it like hustling, but like, you're not trying to like you've got a job, like you're hustling to get the shot,
I
working your butt off.
What you're getting at. And, something I figured out very early was if you want if you want the color, right? My moniker on Instagram is nevincolor. The color is what I'm after. And if you want that, there's a very specific time and a very specific atmosphere for that to happen. And you know what, man, that's why I said, like, had to get up at 3:30 to get there in time, and I do that pretty regularly. I think it was just yesterday I got up at 4:30 on a Sunday. Granted, I didn't go anywhere crazy. I only went 20 minutes away. There's a local lake where I got married, but it really, you got to be there, because if you're sleeping in, you're not catching it. I mean, granted, you could stay out, but, and I do that too. It's like, there's that half hour or so before and after sunrise, before and a little good bit after, but sunrise, sunset, there's a good 20, 30 minute window of good color. And like you said, you hustle, you have to get there. I kind of like doing the beach shots for that a little bit better, because it's a little bit easier to get to your car, go home afterward, on a sunset, if you have to hike 2-3 miles back down a dark mountain, it's not the best, but I've definitely done that in the Adirondacks, but granted, those views are a little different. A sunset in a mountain is definitely something,
Well, dude, I mean, that right there just speaks volumes, like trying to wake up that early and just get out and do it. Mm-hmm. So I think when like a lot of people look at your work, like is most of your stuff at sunrise then? Or are you doing a lot of sunset too?
No, I do. I mean, I would say it's probably
you're doing both.
60-40.
Okay, cool.
Sunrise to sunset. I think I do a little bit more sunrise, just because awesome. And I like that, because like you can go out and shoot and get like, a whole roll of film done. At least I do. And, have the rest of your day. It's like, it's not all day, every day that takes up is, it keeps it like a passion project for me is, I'm not doing it all day, every day. It's, special Friday, Friday sunset, Saturday sunrise, Saturday sunset, somewhere in the weekend, I'm getting out there and I'm enjoying just being out there. And, that's my time. I focus on photography. I was looking, and unfortunately it's, the name of the game is like, you're not going to get a good sunrise or sunset every weekend. And also I prefer sunrise to sunset even, because there's not as many people are dedicated to do it. So you kind of get a spot alone. I know when we went to Yosemite, it was the same thing. We watched the sunrise in March and it was crazy early. And we had like probably an hour of Yosemite. Granted, March is a little bit of the off time from what I understand there. But still, like it felt like I had Yosemite almost to myself for about an hour.
Whoa. That's so pretty cool.
Neat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. So like when you're out there, all right, you're out there at sunrise, like what compositions are you looking for?
To be honest with you, and I don't really know. I mean, I kind of just look for, and this might sound cliche, I just look for whatever my eye's drawn to. Obviously, I'm not trained classically in art or anything like that. I had a couple art classes in high school, but I'm not very, it's just not my thing. I kind of just developed a certain style, mainly rule of thirds is like the number one thing. I mean, and even then I kind of like afterward you can crop photos to be what it needs to be to make a composure. But, I'm just, I'm out there, I'm looking for color. I'm looking for interesting things, whether it's, in the mountains, you just have different landscapes, or the beach, you're looking maybe for a bird to fly over or something, or just the sunrise, watching the waves. If you've seen my feed, I also really love when the moon is out. So like I'll shoot the moon, just whatever's your eye is drawn to is most likely an interesting composition. And it's just your job as the photographer to compose it a little bit better. Like a composition should speak for itself. Like you should notice it. You'd be like, dang, that's cool. And then it's your job of figuring out what kind of crop it should be, whether it's vertical, horizontal, even the square crop. Especially I like doing on medium format. It's a little bit tougher. I used to not enjoy the 6x6 as much, but I like going back to it now, and it's whatever, it just pops out to you. I feel like as a photographer, you kind of get the sense of what is interesting and what isn't. And sometimes there's just something you'll see, and I don't know if you've done this or not, but like I'll see something beautiful and like I just in my head I can't make out the composition and I just enjoy it. I think that's something I gotta, for me personally, figure out, when I'm out there, do I put down the camera for a second and like enjoy it, because there's been some times where like you're hustling, sunset or whatever. You're like, I got all the shots. And then you're like, you're walking to the car. You're like, dang, man, like I completely missed like enjoying that moment.
So why film? Like what made you switch to it?
I think I had seen a bunch of people, it's just, I started following when I was getting, how everybody finds their style, right?
Yeah.
I started to follow accounts like Solar Collective.
Okay.
And then I found like, that kind of, minimalist landscape with the colors, like, just that kind of stuff. Like I started to be aware of that kind of photography. And what I had found with, that like Pale Palm Collection's another like hashtag or page, these curated pages that are just like very like sort of minimal landscape, but, colorful and that kind of stuff. I started being drawn to that. When everybody starts out, like, or at least I did, like you shoot everything. You shoot, street photos, you shoot, like I shot neon portraits, like all that kind of stuff. Just kind of trying to find, seeing things and replicating it. And then that's how you get good at something. That's how you find your style. It's like, artistically, you start drawing what you like. Same thing with photography. At least I found is like, I saw what I like, I saw everything, right? So you want to try different things, and then like you narrow in on what speaks to you. And that kind of photography started to really resonate with me. And what I had found is a lot of these accounts, film, like I was editing, from what I had realized, I was editing my photography to look like film. So instead of just like trying to replicate it, I was like, I might as well try it. So, I think as with everybody, your first roll, like I bought a camera off of eBay. Never do that unless you're rolling the dice, in my opinion. You roll the dice, and then my first camera I bought was like a Fuji. I don't even know what it was. Just some SLR, had a light leak down the middle. So like the whole thing was ruined. I was like, all right, I got a Pentax, I think K1000, and I shot a roll of Fuji Superior through it. And I had gone through, one of my favorite pictures was this boat. It's this like half sunken boat in Delaware. And that's when I'm pretty sure if there's ever a picture that you fall in love with film, or that I did, that was it. I saw this one. I was like, I don't even have to edit this. And it's just perfect, and I figured, that was kind of what I wanted to do. It's like, I was like, I love this. Like it gets rid of my editing. And I think, for me, personally, I feel way more connected to my photography, because it's not like, you don't leave and then on your way home, you look through your photos and you're like, oh yeah, I hit all these. And then that's it. It's like, there's so much work, and especially with like, developing is a whole nother story, but like I get mine only developed and now I scan them. So it's like, the extra work that goes into not only like not knowing if you got it, but like having to wait and then having to put in the time to render it. Like, there's so much buildup and work that goes into one photo. So when you nail it, it's like Christmas, dude.
Yeah, that's what I was talking with Parker last week. We were talking about how like the medium format, you've got to sit down and like look through the viewfinder, make sure it's perfect, it's backwards, you're fighting all this. But at the same time, that slowing down and that thought process, I think the thought process is like the biggest thing that I've been experiencing with film. Because my digital, I've got an A7 III, and that thing can shoot like 10 a second, and
spray
just like
pray. Spray and pray, You know what that's nice for certain things is like everything
motion and stuff.
Everything has its place, and I don't want to say that like I only shoot film. There's plenty of digital I do. But it's, I just think that it hits home so much more with film because of that. Everything is going into like you're really composing, and you really got to think about it. And then it's just, and then you don't know. It's like, depending on how soon, so sometimes it's like 2 weeks. Some people wait.
Yeah.
Like there's a spot near me, Jack's Cameras, shout out to them. I go to them, they develop in 20 minutes, and I'm on my way home.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I mean, they're the best, dude. They're absolutely the best. So I go in, I get it done, I go home. Like, I think yesterday I was managed to, I got 2 rolls developed. I got it all scanned and all rendered up before I went to bed last night, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Because yeah, I felt real good about, getting everything done, and, but still, like, I put, 2 or 3 hours of work into the scanning and then the rendering. And, I know some people batch edit. I don't. I take every single picture as its own, which can be tiresome. And like when I get back from Maine, it's going to take me a week or 2 to get through everything with the amount of film that I'm going to shoot. But, it's worth it, man. It's like, you sit there and, especially for me, it's like I render and like you see that one shot and you're like, oh my gosh, it is. You're just so happy. It's like, everything fell together, and sometimes you didn't even know that you got the shot. You're like, dang, this is the one.
Yeah. I was borrowing a friend's RZ67, and he was like, I don't even know if this thing still works. And he had obtained it through like a school getting rid of a bunch of equipment. And I was like, let me borrow it. People talk about this camera. And I took it out for just like a beach sunset walk.
It's a big boy from what I understand.
Yeah, it's a big boy. Yeah, they're huge. And just like cradling it like a football because there's no handle or anything, and I didn't have a strap for it. And then, but just like, I was like, I don't know if this is working. I get back and it was like the most stunning negatives I've shot. And then the detail, you could zoom in. I don't know. It's just like film in a way just has this like the vibe, like definitely in your photography too. And I know you were talking about that truck you just recently shot. But there's something about the liveliness, like it just kind of pops.
Yeah. I mean, it's the color. I mean, I think there's definitely like in and of itself, like it's hard to replicate film. Like I feel like I've gotten pretty close to it, but there's just something about like that you can never fully recreate. Like, you can get close, and that's cool. And I like to do that for my digital, but like, there's just something about it, the emulsion, like all, like just the whole, I think in my opinion, and I think part of it's mental, I believe, but like you create, like film is physical, right? Like I can go downstairs, I've got a whole binder full of negatives, but like you caught a moment in time, and now it's physically, it is physically there. Obviously you can do prints and stuff like that, but like that's just a print of a digital representation. I just think that there's something neat about that light from that scene hit that negative, and then you created something of that moment. And there's something really special. Yeah. I think there's something really special about that. That just, resonates with me. It's like, you're really a collector of moments. I got to ask you, what do you think your favorite film stock so far is right now?
There's something about like the flexibility and just all of the Kodaks. Even in Gold and Ultramax and all these, like there's still like a bit of flexibility, especially for home, because I'm home developing. So like that flexibility is pretty important. And then you just got me on the C200, the Fuji C200, and I really liked it. The roll so I shot it through a point and shoot, and that roll, that was messed up because of the point and shoot. Not messed up, it was really interesting. It had like streaks across it, which definitely wasn't, I don't do any like wiping or anything when I'm developing. So the streaks weren't me, it was from the camera, which is weird because I had run a roll through it before, like, and there was no streaks. So there's streaks, and then the metering was wrong. So I was like, oh, maybe I don't like C200. And then I shot a roll through just like an AE1, and it was really good. I don't know. I'm still experimenting. Because even with Fuji 400H, like I had like a blast shooting that when I was walking around some of the houses in our like area. Yeah. It handled the sunset really well.
That was I don't know. I shot a roll of 400H at sunset and sunrise, and I did not like it that much. It was a little bit too cool.
It's super cool.
I've heard midday is really good for it. And I'll definitely try it out. I have a bunch of people that I talk to that say, the greens are really good, and I'll give it like a bluebird, midday kind of light try. But I wasn't super pleased with that one the last time I shot it.
It's big in the wedding community. I know a lot of wedding photographers use it. But I don't know. I'm just gravitating towards Portra 400, and I know that's so basic, but It's just something about it. It's
No, I
it's
mean,
flexible.
I think that there's a good reason for that. I've
Yeah.
shot a bunch of different films so far. By no means am I a connoisseur of all of them,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's very consistent. You know what
Yeah.
you're going to get, and you know that the results are good. I actually really enjoy Portra 400 as well. 400 VC is one of my favorites, the vivid color. If you can find old and then like not super old and, something where like, the 20-year-old shots that I found, like I meter it for 100 and it turned out really well. I've been pretty pleased with it.
But what's your favorite, like overall, just off the shelf?
My favorite like expired film is definitely the 400 VC.
Okay.
But, let's.
I feel like you shoot so many different ones.
Well, and then my favorite slide film is easily Velvia 50 or 100. Those are just, that's the one, it's just so vibrant. I think I might almost like that more than Ektar. But yeah, it kind of is like, if they're like, hey, like you only can go out and shoot one or two, it's like, it's depending on how I'm feeling, it's either Ektar or Portra 400. I've been experimenting with 800 again. 800 on 120, I've really enjoyed. I feel like I get way more consistent results on that film doing that. Like, I love it, Yeah. But 35, there's something about 35 on 800. It's not quite, and I got to experiment with it more because it's a little bit, the results are a little bit all over the place for me. It's not as consistent with what I'm used to. And it just kind of like, it's just, some of it's really good. I love it. Like, it's a great film stock. I know I've seen a bunch of people shoot 800 midday and it looks really good. But
that's crazy.
I got to try.
Are they using filters or just like stopping it crazy down?
No, not even that. +2. And it looks awesome. Well, yeah. There's a bunch. I'll have to send you some, but
that's cool.
It kind of like, I do gravitate towards the Kodak, like the professional 400, and then Ektar. But, I'm just as happy to go out with Color Plus or C200. I kind of color negative film. I can't really go wrong with, man. Each of them have like there's certain things I would definitely use this over this for different things like that. But for the most part, I can make anything work. It's about light, lens, location, right? So you got the right light, the right lens, the right location.
The lens is really matter. I think that's why one of the reasons why the RZ line is so popular is because those lenses are just
they're really nice. And that's what, man, I've been shooting with the G1, the Zeiss glass, man. I really am keen on that. Like, I've been so happy with that recently. That's been my go-to, just everything right now.
I'm kind of discovering that like the body doesn't matter as much.
No. It's nice to say you have like a Leica M series. Like, I have an M4P and I do love it. It's more of like it's fun to shoot and the user experience is amazing. But like you said, like a body is technically a body. It's like, but it's and like you said, the glass I think is what really matters. And, shooting the Zeiss glass, and that's what I have on the Hasselblad as well, is I have the Carl Zeiss. I have 2 different lenses for them, and they're just, so sharp, so nice. Yeah. And, that's my only medium format rig right now, is that I'd like to look into, my buddy Jesse has some of those Fuji ones, the medium format ones, and they're so nice they're so compact. My Hasselblad is
the rangefinder ones.
Yeah.
I want one of those things.
It's like the cheaper version of the Mamiya 7 from what I've seen, except it looks like it's a fixed lens. But anyway, the point is, the Hasselblad is a little bit like you said, the RB. It's smaller than the R series from Mamiya, but like Hasselblad is still like 10 pounds and feels like a brick in your backpack. So it's like, I'd like to have one so I can shoot some medium format out in the field and, on different trips, and not carry around an extra 10 to 15 pounds of body and lenses. The
Mamiya 645 Pro that I'm using, if you put the winder on that, you can get that weight down pretty well. But negative's gonna be a lot smaller. No, definitely having like portable medium format.
That's my next go-to.
Yeah, I've seen some really good reviews on those Fuji like the Fuji fixed lens ones, they're really not like bad. I think they're really cool, and then they're affordable.
Yeah, somebody said it's kind of like a medium format point and shoot, and for travel purposes, man, like, do you really need more than that? And that's one lens and compact. I think is just having a camera there that doesn't weigh 1,000 pounds. When you're hiking up a mountain, is all you really need. As long you 35 somewhere between 28 and 35 millimeter focal length, and you're probably for at least what I'm doing, like in travel, landscape kind of stuff, you're pretty good.
Let's go to the segment where we're dissecting one of your photos and what you love about it, and just talk about it. So
do you have
is there any?
mind?
No, I actually don't, because you post too many good ones.
No, all right, I like this idea. However, I want you to choose.
Oh, okay.
Because I like them all, man.
Yeah.
I want what's interesting for me on my end. I want to know what you like. You tell me what you like.
What I'm drawn to. Okay.
And just from a feedback perspective, and like somebody outside my own mind, I like that idea.
So, okay, well, your last one, or 2 days ago, did you use a drone? How'd you get that overhead shot?
Yeah.
Okay, you're cheating on me. No,
definitely not film. I make sure to make sure that I don't use any film hashtags on the ones that are.
Well, that one's dope because I love drone.
Me too, man.
Oh gosh. Oh, I'm screen recording this to show like how I can't even choose. You always do so good with beaches. Now you had one. Oh no, it was this one. Okay, so Lake George. It's the silhouette in the front. I think you said that's your friend.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
I know which one you're talking about. That's Ektar 100. So yeah, man. What I like about them too is like these shots, like bring me right back into time. Like we left after work and I live in Philly. My buddy lives in Philly as well. We left after work at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. We're driving up to Lake. We were originally going to go up to Lake Placid, and we only made it to Lake George at like 1 a.m. I was like, dude, I'm exhausted. I've been working since, I'd been up 6 a.m. the previous day. He worked the whole day. I was like, all right, let's just crash. We crashed at one of these, the rest stops, right when you get into the Adirondacks on 87. And he rigged out the back of his truck, so it's like a mini camper. So we just crashed for 3 hours, and then we drove 20 minutes to Lake George, and just found some random. Everything's like closed down because of COVID right now. So we went just down to, it was like some hotel or motel that had a little pier at the bottom. Just watched the sunrise over Lake George, and it was real dark, and then I was like, man, I looked up, I was like, oh man, I can see some clouds here. So I wonder if they'll pop. And sure enough, just the pink clouds.
But you got that reflection on the water too.
Yeah, it was great, dude. It was crazy. And that's the thing is like, with digital, you can make stuff look like it wasn't there, right? You look at the raw versus the Ektar. I mean, film, not so much, man. It, like that color has to be there for it to show up. And you know what, man, it did. And, it was such a, and it was quiet too. It's like,
well, like one of the things that I noticed about this one specifically, and why that one kind of like popped for me, was the pop on the water, but also it's the having like someone like a subject, like
human
experiencing
interest.
Human interest, and then he's experiencing it with you. He's right there, and you can kind of see that.
I don't do it every shot. Sometimes a good landscape's good landscape, but my mom is a painter, and she and I've talked, and I always send her my photography when we stop, and she says like, when you bring in human interest, it kind of connects the viewer to it as well. It's like, you or it connects you to, I thought like you and your buddy could be there kind of thing. It's like, and that's what it was. Me and my buddy were there, and I have him, and I always, I'm not a portrait photographer.
Yeah.
But I like having human interest in it sometimes, you know, and having them either blurry or just like silhouetted here is like, you know, I feel like, you know, you are observing an observer of this setting. And I think that I really like doing that. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
But it definitely elevates it. It just like takes that, like you said, the human interest component. And then like several of your beach ones also have like a couple walking down. Just walking. Yeah, tiny people, little ants walking around.
There's like there's I think TV tiny people on Instagram. There's a whole
really
genre of that. But I enjoy it. Like, and I've got a couple. One of my favorite ones was, you know, it was just a couple. They were like, they're pretty tiny in the frame, but they're walking, you know, along this reflection, and just like, you know, it's special because you're like, I think in my mind, a viewer can look at it and be like, oh, that could be me and my wife, you know, or me and my significant other walking through, you know, just along a beach at sunset. You know, it's beautiful. The colors are beautiful. It's a quiet moment. It's, you know, it's a peaceful moment. There's not a lot going on. And I think that gives it more of a peaceful vibe. Yeah,
for sure. Well, before we go, do you have anything that you want to plug? Any tips and tricks you want to tell before we wrap it up here?
Yeah, I mean, no, nothing I want to plug. Obviously, you know where to find me on Instagram. Yeah. I guess, you know what, I still do have a couple of my first zine. I released called The Mountains in the Sea, which is what I love to shoot, as you can see on my page.
And it's incredible.
Yeah, thank you. That was a really, well received, and I got a lot of compliments that just, you know, warmed my heart, man. It's, you know, it was a passion project, always is a passion project for me, and to share that in a physical way with somebody, you know, anybody in the world, it's just awesome, man. So
that's awesome.
That, you know, and you know where they can always find me, buy a print, whatever, or don't. Like, that's cool too. Support me however you want. This is a passion project of mine, and I, you know, any sort of money that I make with it just goes right back into it. I just, you know, I love photography, and I, you know, love trips, love buying films, expensive, but you know, it's absolutely a passion project of mine. And, you know, if people ever need help, you know, with film or just questions, they, you know, my DMs are always open. Welcome, you know, would love to help however I can. And tips and tricks, man. You know, the main thing is that we talked about. You got to hustle. It's like, you know, if you want you know, beautiful, colorful photos, get up early, stay out late, you know, and then stay later than you think. You know, just because the sun went below the horizon doesn't mean it's time. You know, there's especially in the summertime, you get a ton of light, ton of beautiful color. So it's just about hustling, and you don't appreciate you know, taking the time to talk with me, and hopefully if anybody's, you know, has any questions, or hopefully I can be of some help or some inspiration somehow, because that's all I want, you know. I want to be able to inspire others to do what I'm doing, because, you know, it is feasible to do. And if you really want to, like, hey, I want to get good at taking sunsets, just you can do it. Anybody can do it. It's just a matter of practice, and practice makes perfect.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, you're awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. And I'll plug you down below, and definitely go check them out.
You know, like I said, my DMs are always open if you got questions.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with me, and we'll see you around.
All right. Thanks, Will.
All right. See ya. Thank you so much for watching that interview with Nevin Johnson. He is so amazing, and it's so awesome to hear about his concept for shooting, how he's just so laid back and hustling every morning to get those sunrise shoots. It's pretty mind-blowing, and I hope it encourages you to get out and hit those sunrises as well. Please go support Nevin at nevincolor on Instagram. We'll link it below. And don't forget to subscribe to me here, One Will Cobb, on YouTube to get more Film Friend Fridays and other videos that come out throughout the week. I super appreciate you watching, and I appreciate all the support I've been getting from this channel. It means the world to me. So if you want to keep supporting this channel, hit that bell to get the notifications, hit the thumbs up to like this video, and definitely subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Film Friend Fridays.